Lyndon, have you ever played that game, Two Truths and a Lie?
No.
You didn't even help us.
No, I haven't.
Oh, just tell me about it.
Do you wanna? What? You never played it?
No.
Ever?
No.
Did you ever do icebreakers at work?
Two truths and a lie.
Right. Okay. This is like a very typical.
Oh wait, no,
icebreaker.
I have, but it's people have to guess. You just say one thing. People have to guess whether it's a truth or a lie.
No, you have to
not
say.
true.
This is
No, I'm saying this game
This
here is
game-
like the up.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I haven't played
So
that.
in
I played
this
something
game,
like that,
you
but not like that.
say 3 things, and people have to guess which ones are true, which ones are lie.
Yeah, okay.
So can you choose 3 things randomly? It doesn't matter. We don't care. And then me and Angela will guess which one's the truth and which 2 are the truth. 2, you know what I'm trying to say. Truths? Is that how you say it? Truths, and which one's a lie?
I can tell you that all of them are true because Lyndon doesn't lie. Isn't that?
Can you just think of
Isn't
3? Lyndon, you're above average intelligence. Think of 3 quickly, and then we'll guess.
No, it's not that. No, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna tell you something quickly and not think about it. Are you mad?
Angela, have you got 3?
Oh, I'm supposed to do it too.
It's my game, yeah. I want you to do it.
Oh, are you gonna do it?
Nope,
Why?
because I don't want to.
Can I not want to?
If you don't have, it's up to you.
Okay, let me think.
Are you ready?
I was gonna say some truths and lies that will really anger Lyndon, and I thought, no, Angela, that's not the way we need to go.
And just stay focused.
I know, honestly.
Why are you thinking about angering me?
Like, why are you not thinking about your two truths and a lie?
Why are you thinking about angering me?
Man, no, this is what came to my head, and then I said no, and I was letting you know that I stopped myself. You just think about your 2 truths, and I'm gonna think about mine.
I've been to Canada 3 times.
Okay.
I've been to Amsterdam 3 times.
Oh, how did I know it's going to be about geography? Okay. Amsterdam 3 times.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and then?
And I've been to United States 3 times.
I can tell you what the lie is.
Me too.
United States.
You haven't been?
Okay.
You've been once. He has been once. He's been to Texas, Austin.
Oh, you have! High five, well done! Smart girl.
Okay. That's your answer. United States.
Yeah, you haven't been. The United States one is a lie.
Me too, I agree. I don't think you've been to America.
I haven't been to Amsterdam 3 times.
But it's
What?
Hey, hi. It's 2 true.
Yeah, 2 of them are true. I've been to Canada 3 times. I've been to the United States 3 times.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you
But you said you'd never been.
I never said I've never been.
No, you haven't been to Jamaica. You haven't been to Jamaica. And you went the other day.
I thought you said you hadn't been to America.
Angela, you
I've been to-
convinced
No,
I've
we
been to America
high-fived already.
3 times.
Because he was saying that he'd never been, and then he
I never
went.
said I've never been.
You did. You lied to us.
I never said I've never been.
certain. Angela said, I know the lies. And I said, yeah, me too.
I knew you'd been to Canada, but
Canada
you
3
said that.
times. I've been to America 3 times. I've been to Amsterdam twice, not 3 times.
You should be a politician because you really convinced me.
Yeah,
Real talk.
because you can only work off the information that Lyndon's given you. And if Lyndon said that he's not been to America, it's the first time. You have to just take
I
him at
swear
his
you
word.
hadn't been to America.
Yeah, that's what he said.
I don't know why I thought that. Do you know why? I think because when you were in Austin, you were talking about America with I honestly thought it was like the first time you'd been, but obviously it's the first time you've been to Texas.
Yeah, exactly.
So you've been to New York?
Yeah.
And
And New York again.
oh. Angela, ready?
I don't have 2 truths and a lie. Honestly, I don't have 2 truths and a lie.
At all? Okay, fair enough.
She had all that time. She could have
I don't know what happened.
Because I was trying to figure out your lie.
But anyway, talking about politicians and people telling the truth.
Come on, segue.
Have you heard about Preeti? Is it Preeti? It is Preeti
I thought it was
Patel.
pretty. I thought it was
Oh,
pretty.
is it pretty?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, maybe it's eyes, I
It
guess.
doesn't matter. I don't care what her name is.
Lyndon?
I just don't like her.
Okay.
And it's because she reminds you of someone who I used to work for.
Do you not like her because of her stance on anything around
there's that.
immigration,
There's
Brexit,
that. There's that.
right?
And the fact that she reminds me of a boss who is the reason why I left, basically.
Lyndon, tell us. You never.
Is
really
that the
speak
reason
about
why you
work.
left? Or it was part of the reason why you left?
It is part of the reason I left, but it's a massive reason I left. A huge reason. As in, if she wasn't there, I wouldn't have left so abruptly.
So
God really used her.
would you say that this woman you're talking about, would you describe her as like a bully, or would you say that she was hands down?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I didn't see her as a bully when I was there, but when I heard the way people were talking about Preeti Patel and they were listening to things that she does, I'm like, Yep, my boss did that. Yep, she did that. Yep, she did that.
Can you give us like some of what are some of the
I was
things
going to
that
talk
she's
about.
done?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
He said shouting, the swearing, the belittling, asking for things that are unreasonable, just things like that. That is what she did pretty much every day.
And was that your first job out of uni?
No, it's my second.
Okay. How long? But it's your longest job.
Yeah, the longest one.
How long were you there for?
5.5 years. Yeah. So when I heard the story about Priti Patel being a bully, and then I heard the things, I looked at Priti Patel, I thought, yeah, I believe it. I believe every word. I believe it. The person.
But what has she been accused of? So
What I just said. The
so
shouting, the screaming,
every
and the
single
swearing.
day.
Well, people are saying that's what she's doing. I don't know if it's
Yeah.
every day, but
Yeah.
that's what she's been doing.
Bullying behaviour.
Yeah.
Do I believe that somebody who is in a high position of power?
Do you believe that Priti Patel is a work bully? Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, 100%. I think there's a high propensity for anybody who has a great amount of power to be a bully.
To abuse it.
Absolutely.
And I think for me it was her apology that sold it for me, because
What did she say?
she was smiling. She was smiling, and they'll actually watch someone say like analyze her interview and her apology, and they said that normally sometimes people might smile because they feel uncomfortable, but usually the smile doesn't go further than like the nose, but she was smiling with her whole face. Yeah, so
She sounds like a sociopath.
So they said that it seems like she's not apologetic at all.
I wouldn't
She's
call my
not.
boss a sociopath, because I think if she was put in that position that Priti Patel was in, and there's a camera in her face asking her what she did, she wouldn't be able to handle that. I know she wouldn't.
Oh.
She wouldn't be able to handle that. But yeah, that's the only difference. She's
But-
not a politician.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, that's what sold it for me. Yeah, honestly, that is, and I feel like there's so many people that go through work bullying. And I've been through it too, that I feel for anyone who comes out and says this person is bullying me.
But why
My
do you
manager's bullying me.
Why do you think that they were allowed to get away with this bullying for like any amount of time? I don't know how long it had
Because
been for Priti Patel.
Depends on how close you are with the person who's on top. So she's quite close with Boris, obviously, and Boris has got her back. And I would say that my boss, her boss, well, the managing people, they had her back to a certain extent, mainly because they didn't really know how bad it was,
Yeah.
and maybe Boris doesn't know how bad it is. I don't know, but they have her back, so that's why she's able to get away with it. And also, she's probably in their eyes very good at her job, so they just want to keep her there and not have anyone else.
And also, disciplining behavior or disciplinary like procedures and stuff are always if you're not there trying to make it a peaceful and nice place for everybody to work, and that's not your intentions, they're always a headache. Like no one really wants to pull someone in and pull them up unless they are the bullies trying to pull people up everywhere in any situation.
Yeah.
Especially higher members of staff. And also, if your workplace is not set up in a way that you can complain easily, it might not be that people are ignoring it, but just because it's never come to the forefront, because there's not a clear avenue for people to come and present their issues and know that they'll be taken seriously and not actually come back to bite them. Like I think you kind of weigh up, will these people take me? Am I doing this and will it have a positive outcome, or will it just exacerbate the issues that I'm already dealing with?
Is it worth the risk?
Is it worth the risk? And if not, I just have to my only way out is just to actually leave, to get out. But honestly, being bullied at work is not fun, especially as you're there the majority of the day, honest, even just the anxiety. It's too much. So I feel sorry for whoever that man is. Sorry to that man.
I think it was a few people. That actually been bullying. But then what makes it worse is how much importance you put on that job. Like the job before, if anyone tried to bully me, there's no way they can get away with it, because I tell them about it. I'd scream and cry. There's no way they could get away with bullying me. I remember the first time my boss tried to pull me up on some rubbish, and I told him about himself, and he left me alone. He left me alone after that. I could get away with that in that job because no one, I didn't care that much. I could find another one just the same. He didn't really care. I didn't really care. This job now was a higher level. It's difficult to get in. It was 4 interviews to get in and a test. It was so much effort to get in. Once I got in, I was made to feel like I'm lucky to be in there, right?
Yeah.
It'd be difficult to get another job at that same level, right?
Yeah.
So you decide to take things on more than you should, or more than you know you should. There's certain things that she said to me. There's certain ways that she spoke to me that if anybody else in the world spoke to me like that, I'm squaring up. There's no
Me
way.
too. I'm gonna square up with you, Lyndon. We'll come and fight for you.
But I had to hold it. I had to hold it for 5 years.
Angela said, I don't know about that. I said I'll come and fight for you.
And the one that the thing is, it's a job that pays good bonuses. So I'm thinking to myself,
hold on
bonus.
Hold on to December.
And this is before I got married. I'm like, I need to make sure I got money for that. I need listen. Just
but
hold
then
it.
isn't that isn't that the problem?
That is the problem.
You're able, people in these positions are able to kind of literally get away with this behavior because they're thinking, oh, well, you know what? If you complained, you can be out, or they create the illusion. Because I'm actually not sure if you complained, you would be out, but they're creating this illusion that, well, you'll be lucky to get another job. Do you know what I mean?
Well, then, the other thing about my situation was for about 4.5 years I was there. No, I was there 5.5 years. For the first 4 years, there was nobody I could complain to. There was no HR.
And I don't understand that.
And my boss was kind.
That's not
my
uncommon.
boss was
But
actually.
is that common in certain industries?
If it's a small boutique firm, you might not get
or if
a HR
it's a
person.
small firm that's growing into a larger firm and they haven't made those structural changes, you find yourself in a situation where actually you've got too many people and one person that holds so many, wears so many hats, and it's a conflict of interest. And that's all I'll say about that for now.
So anything. So yeah. So in my situation, obviously my boss is the finance director, right? The other people who are also partners, there were 3 partners, right? There's the managing partners who did all the deal stuff. They brought the money into the business.
Right.
And my boss is the finance director. But what happened with her was she did everything else. So it was finance director. She's kind of like HR. We dealt with all everything payroll we dealt with as well. So she deals with everything, right? In terms of, and even managing the middle office and operations. She managed them as well.
Oh.
So she's just doing everything that the other boss didn't have time to care about because
that's a conflict. And I've seen this before. Can't talk about that situation.
Yeah.
But I've seen this before, and the issue is when someone is the channel, when someone is the pathway, when someone is the only key to any higher management to the partners or anything like that, it creates a real issue because anyone underneath that person knows that if they have an issue with that person, you might as well not say anything because that person will probably be in a meeting where it's discussed that they are the link to the people who you want to complain to. It's like going to complain to, I don't know. It's so wild to me. And also there's different parts of HR. There's like the like operational side where it's like payroll and all of those kind of stuff. And then there's also the people side and the policy side as well, like all of the company policies. But there's a people side, and in which you at least needs to be an appearance that there's someone who is impartial, someone who is outside, who's able to handle it. And usually, no, let me not say anything. I'm just saying this. It's so wild that this is not a one-off situation. This is this, and I don't know if it's because of like companies who are just smaller going to bigger companies. It's a transitional thing. It's people who've got comfortable with a certain one. Also, I think sometimes when people take on roles, they find it hard to let them go. But it's wild.
But the thing is, though, you're saying maybe it's like a small company thing or like a family-run business thing because they haven't got those structures in place. Small office. Not small company,
but
this was happening at the Cabinet Office. This is happening with Priti Patel, and I have friends who work at Whitehall in varying different like roles, and it's not uncommon. Like this is common practice, so it can't be just small office structure. I think this is a culture.
Would Whitehall have someone who runs HR?
Well, yeah, they do.
They'd have
so exactly. So I'm saying we're so small at the start that we didn't have one.
Right.
We got one at my last year, and it was difficult for me to get because that's supposed to be someone that you can trust, right? I couldn't do that because I see her coming into my boss's office every week or so, or twice a week, to speak to my boss, right? So still, I see that my boss still has the power over her. So I'm like, I can't talk to her. because she could say anything to her boss. I can't. So at my exit interview, I was able to speak to her and tell her what I'd been going through and why I'm leaving. I tempered it a bit, but at the same time, I was leaving, so I didn't care as much. And I knew I had like another week left, so I wanted it to be as smooth as possible. But I told her, and nothing I said shocked her. Nothing I said, she was
but
like,
that's disgusting. She should be sitting there being shocked, thinking, I can't believe this is happening, and I'm so sorry you had to go through
and
this.
the thing is,
why would she be she's shocked because she knows the person that I'm talking about.
No, but the thing is,
yeah, but that behaviour
it's not
can't
for
go
you to
unchecked.
be, exactly, it's not for her to just not be, I'm not shocked. Okay, cool, that's number one.
But
your whole role is to make sure that there's some kind of safeguarding.
Yeah.
There's some kind of, like, what's the point of you supposed to be? Are you just supposed to be someone that holds the knowledge, or are you supposed to be actioning
all we needed at that point was someone else who could tell the managing partners what she's doing, because nobody else could do that. There's nobody else that could do that. So you just needed
an authority figure at that level.
Yeah, we need another management figure that's going to hear from us and feed that information to the managing partners.
Yeah.
That's what we needed. That's what I always needed from when I started.
But can I just say,
you know what, I feel, do you know what?
When Lyndon told me, I wanted to fight.
Honestly, I feel you. If I tell you some of the bullying experiences, I don't know if we've got enough time on the thingy.
No, we're all right. We're all right.
Friend, like, one of my first jobs, so one of my first part-time job was in John Lewis in London. And that was fine. It was really nice. It was actually a Christmas stint, and I was going to uni, and so I was going to uni in January. So I was like, it was just for a bit, and it was really fun, a really good experience, a really positive experience. So much that I went to uni and I decided to go. I wanted a part-time job, and I just wanted to work at John Lewis. Plus, John Lewis was fancy. Like, it wasn't like working at Primark or, like, no shade or anything. But, you know, once you've gone to John Lewis, I mean, hello. So I went to John Lewis. Hey, did John Lewis deal with me? What? So go there, get 3 interviews, whatever, start working. And that was probably the most traumatic working experience I've ever had. It ended up with me being I used to have panic attacks when I'm going to work, and I said, what? Actually, I can't come and kill myself. Like, I'd be walking into the complex that the John Lewis was in, and I would be like physically shaking. Like, I'm so nervous even to go into work. Yeah, feel sick. Like, can't eat breakfast, can't eat. Like, so scared. And I thought, actually, now when I think about it, I think I wish I could have told myself, these people are not God, and they can't kill you. What are they gonna do? Kill you? I mean, obviously with stress maybe and cortisol levels, but in real life, are they gonna stab you and kill you?
Yeah.
No. But I came from a John Lewis that was very mixed in terms of, like, the kind of people that worked there, and went to a John Lewis where, honestly, I think I was like one of 3 black people.
Is this at university?
Yeah. And when I talk about 3, as in, like, if I see a black person in the whole John Lewis, we would smile and nod and like, you know, like, oh my gosh. And at one point, one of my friends in uni started working at the same John Lewis, in a completely different department. But in my department, I was the only black person. And the manager of my manager was such a bully. Number of things she did, berated me, didn't allow me to come to, like, team, like, building events.
Wait,
she made me,
Why?
There's one time when they had a whole team building event, and they cleared the whole shop floor, and she pointed me out, and she said, can you stay on the shop floor to man the shop floor? So I wasn't allowed to go to that team building event.
And you were young, right?
Yeah, I was young.
This is
horrible. She shouted at me for things that I hadn't done before, like, completely came and say hi to other people who were standing with her, not even acknowledge me, refused to give me my pay slip when she was giving everybody else's pay slips out.
What?
Like, we used to have to wait until the end of, like, so it was the end of the month, and then she would bring down the pay slips from the office and hand everybody's pay slips out as if you're on the last shift before people go home. And she'd hand everybody else. There's one particular time she handed everybody else's pay slip out, and I asked for mine, and she didn't. She completely ignored me, and she didn't give me my pay slip, to the point where I was waiting. People went home. They were, like, closing up the shop, and I was, like, figuring, like, how am I gonna get my pay slip? She's refused to give it to me, and then I had to ask someone else, and they got it from the office.
What?
Honestly, terrorist. She used to make my manager cry. There's one time I went into the back office and my manager was crying in the corner, and I said, "Who made you cry?" And she said, her name was Hannah, and I wish I knew your surname because I would say it, all of it. But and you know what the sad thing is? She was from Bristol. Yeah, honestly, such a witch. Anyway,
disgusting. But you know what I was gonna say? That sounds like a number of absolutely horrible things, but do you think that she was bullying you because she was threatened by your existence?
I think she didn't like me.
Why?
Think she just didn't like me. I don't know if she'd ever come across other black people I don't know. She was quite young. She was like in her like mid-30s. But she I don't think she liked me, and so I don't know, but she was quite mean, but she was particularly mean to me to the point where the people that I was working with actually told me that I need to go and complain about her.
Yeah.
Like, are you not seeing the way she's treating you? And obviously I'd known and I'd kind of registered it, but I didn't want to complain because I knew the structure of that particular branch. Should I have said their name actually now?
Yeah, because they have a surname.
Yeah. No. I'm talking about the name of the shop.
Yeah.
So John Luke's gonna
but that
issue us an apology.
Because I had a great experience somewhere else, but that particular branch, the structure of that particular branch, didn't allow for any kind of like they said they had an independent body that kind of like you could take your fears or whatever, and I had to build up a lot of courage to go and speak to them.
It's not something that you expect to have have in your first couple of jobs.
And I was terrified. Had to build up all this courage. People on the floor had to say like, no, you should really report this. Funny enough, none of them stood up like for me in front of her. Went to the appointment with the independent person, a body that's supposed to be able to deal with these kind of issues. Sat down with her in tears, couldn't even get my words out, trying to explain to her how fearful I feel. And you know what her response was? Who are you complaining about? Who's that? Who's the manager? Tell me the name. And I said Hannah, and she said, Hannah? Oh, I know Hannah. I sit with her in the office. She's lovely. I'm sure this is a misunderstanding. And at that point, you know when you say, and this is when they knew that they played themselves. At that point, I said, whoa, Angela, you played yourself? You're talking to someone who's their friend. Like, I know her. Like, I sit next to her. She's lovely. Like, I know it must be a misunderstanding. John, do you want me to talk to her for you? And I said, absolutely not. I think I actually said, just let's pretend that we didn't have this conversation. And I just knew then, would you say impartial, smartial? Like, that's why I said to her, I said, literally, people say they're impartial, they're independent, or they're not going to be biased. Honestly, and confidentiality, I don't believe any of that. A lot of that is true at work. Honestly, people speak outside of and relay information that they shouldn't. And so I don't trust anyone apart from God. I tell him all my worries and I lay all my burdens. and then I write my resignation letter and then I delete it. But you know what? We thank God I got out of that situation. And actually the next place I went to work, there were crazy people, but it was nothing like that. It built me for the madness that is working.
What do they say? Resilience usually comes from trauma.
Honestly. But yeah, I used to have nightmares of, long after I left there, nightmares of me turning up to that area.
That's
and people,
PTSD.
Me bumping into her and she screaming at me. And I left in such a wild way.
Let's go and find her.
Which John?
Let's go and find her. She's still there.
But can I tell you, if we've got camera time, I left in such a wild way. I was so traumatized. I didn't give notice. I just left. I didn't turn up the next day.
Good.
I left, yeah?
I like that.
And they forgot to take me off their. Should I say this is incriminating?
No,
Let's just
what
say.
are they going to do by now? After the money back?
They forgot to take me off their payroll. They paid me for another 3 months.
No way.
Full pay.
Really?
Full. Actually, more pay than I'd ever got paid.
Amen.
Won't God fight your battles for you? Yeah, guys. Vengeance is the Lord. Anyway, at uni, I was broke. As broke can be, and I used to go to the what do you call it, cash machine and be shocked at the end of the month that they're still paying me.
That's a miracle.
Honestly, God will do it, and He'll pinch them where it hurts. That's all. That's my testimony done.
Amen. So do you know what? Listening to the two of your stories about the bullying that you encountered, honestly, I can't say that it was anything as severe for me. Like, I had a little bit of, it's not, I don't think you can have little bits or lots of bullying. I definitely had some bullying at work in my first proper job, at Microsoft. I'll say it, because what they're going to do, who's going to check me, boo? But actually, where I work now, I think the reason why that behavior is really not tolerated, like at all, is because I think, one, I work for like a campaigning charity, and two, we have a union, and the union does not play about anything, to be honest. So yeah, that's why I kept asking you about like your structures. So in the union, I think they really try they're there to represent the voice of the people at like a senior level, like at a director level. Well, yeah, at management level. And so that just wouldn't be tolerated. Literally, I mean, we have people saying they're going to whistleblow 24/7 and things change very quickly. So yeah, and there, I think we had like a mole. Is it a mole? Yeah, a mole who was like feeding information to the Daily Mail. Oh, yeah, we had that last year. So people get very scared about these things. So my advice is, oi, listen, if you have a union, join the union. If you don't have a union, beseech the Father. That's what I say. No, but yeah, I mean, I honestly, the stories that you told me, I think are horrendous. Like it just... I can't even understand going to work and having panic attacks, or going to work and having someone shout at you or belittle you. That doesn't make any sense to me. However, having said that, we did have an occasion when I first started working there 4 years ago, where there was a guy, I think he was mentally unstable anyway. We're having a meeting at Christmas, and Christmas is a very busy period for us. And he's a creative, so he was like a graphic designer, and he picked up a chair and threw it at somebody. He didn't last much longer, but I mean, that did happen.
What preceded that?
I mean, nothing, to be honest.
Oh, he just decided.
Well, he didn't like the designs. We didn't like the like. I think I wasn't in the meeting. This is like a. Do you know what I mean? It's like a what's it called? Like, it wasn't an urban legend. It was actually something that happened. They were in a meeting, and all our meeting rooms have got the huge glass windows, and so I imagine it was something like, can I see the copy? I don't like that. Can I see a different image? I've been working on this for 4 days. I don't really like it. Do you know what? I've had enough of you. And he picked up the chair and threw it. That's the only thing that's ever happened, and that happened before me.
What kind of chair was it?
So like, you know, like the plastic ones with like the metal legs.
The metal, like, conference room chairs.
Yeah. Conference room chairs.
The black,
the black ones, yeah.
He picked those up.
He picked up one and threw it.
And nothing was broken.
I don't know. I wasn't there. The one thing, do you know what made me sad? He was from Manchester, and I said, that's not how we behave.
No, people from anywhere can behave anyway. But I just don't understand where he grew up to allow him to think that you could behave like that in work. Yeah. I don't understand. What makes you think you could pick up a chair and throw it at work?
People are mad, you know.
That wouldn't even cross my mind, to pick up a chair and throw it at work.
And maybe that's
even at home.
Even at home.
Do you know what? I don't know. People are mad. Like, people do very strange things. And he was one of those people where he didn't like raise his voice. So like a real like psychopath. Do you know what I mean? Like, just sits there and says nothing, and says, I've had enough, and just threw the chair. Yeah, I don't think it hit anybody, because obviously by the time it's launched into the air, it's heavy, isn't it? So people can probably see it coming, and it probably landed in a table rather than at the intended person. But that's just not the point.
I'm trying to imagine that, Mike. This just looks very awkward and stupid.
What do you do after
those
that?
Chairs.
Like, what? So it lands. It hits the table. It lands.
I still don't like your copy.
And then everybody's looking at each other like.
And I still don't like your imagery. So what are we gonna do?
You have to storm out. Honestly, you can't. In fact, while it's still flying, you need to storm, because when it lands and it's in the room, you look like an absolute idiot.
An older man, like, you know, you'd expect him to just have a bit of wisdom about him. But yeah, that's the only thing that and that didn't even happen to me. That happened before I was working there. And then when I joined, I think he left about 6 months later. I mean, I don't know why that wasn't like instant dismissal, but what do I know? But can I just let you know also another thing? You know, you talk about HR. Honestly, I feel like there's a large percentage of HR professionals who shouldn't work in HR.
Hello.
Like, why do you work in HR? Because you don't like people. You don't like people, and you don't like communicating HR policy. And I don't understand what is it that these people gravitate to about HR? Do they think they're going to get to work by themselves and not have to speak to anybody? I don't really understand it, but yeah.
And they're usually the chatty patties and the people who don't know what confidentiality means. Don't know what non-bias means. All of those things sound like gossip.
Yep.
Let me say it. Honestly, I don't trust, and I've been made a fool so many times that no.
I never felt like HR was there. Like I said, my last job, but then the job before that, I didn't feel like HR was there to support me anyway.
Isn't that a crying shame? That's their actual job.
Yeah.
Honestly, even sometimes when people have asked me, not only in the past, let me just say it like that. Even when people ask me in the past, like, what did you do this weekend? I really filter, like, what do I want them to know about me? What do I know? And it's really sad. It's really sad, but honestly, because randomly someone will be like, yeah, and Angela does that. Yeah, and I think, whoa. You've blown that out of proportion, or there's things that I've said and they've come up in conversations with other people and I think, what?
All right. So, obviously we've spoken about your experiences where you've been like bullied beyond belief, and the fact that you guys are still like walking, talking, very functional members of society is amazing. Well done. Clap for yourselves, because I don't think I would have made it. But actually, has anybody ever accused the two of you of being bullies at work?
No.
That was quick. Nah,
do you know why? Because I'm not a bully at work.
No. I think there's sometimes people accuse people of bullying them, being mean, and it's not every time someone uses that word it is necessary or it is true. No one's ever told me that. I mind my business. Honestly, I mind my business. Honestly, and I take my lunch breaks to scream, and then I mind my business and some more. But I know that, and I think she's happy with me saying it, but one of my friends recently, she is someone who loves her job. She is she's a biomedical scientist, and she loves her job. She loves science. Like, this is something she would probably do in her free time. But work is work and it's stressful. And so she's been working, and especially in this time of COVID, she's been working very hard, taken on loads more. And there's much more work coming in as well, because they're testing a lot of things and whatever. But some of the people at work don't have that same attitude. And so they're not even doing the bare minimum. And every time the person slacks off, she's picking up the work.
I hate that.
And then one day she's like, okay, listen, can you please make sure that these 3 things are done? And she probably does like about 3 times the amount. And the girl didn't do it. And she's like, but why didn't you do it? Or why didn't you even tell me you didn't do it? The next day, she's like, it was just too much. It's too much. Meanwhile, this girl's doing absolutely nothing and complaining to her manager that she's bored. And so now my friend was like, right, visibly annoyed, asked some straightforward questions, didn't shout, but said, why didn't you do it? Like, do you know how much I do? So you definitely have this time to do it. I'm doing some of the work that you should be doing, and I've asked you to do.
Are they on
these
the
3
same
things.
level?
Yeah. And then she just kept quiet and focused on her work, but she was visibly upset with what had happened, like my friend. And the girl cried.
Of course she did.
She cried. And she said that she felt like my friend was bullying her and was being very mean. And that vexed my friend, because she felt like, I'm already doing all the work on this floor. What the hell? So I feel like sometimes you're accused of being aggressive, being mean, and being a bully, but that may not be like the actual truth. I think sometimes people can take, especially if you're black, can take some of the things you say, or the direct way you'll use directly asking them some questions and speaking to them in a very direct way as aggressive. Or combative. I think you're combative. Friend, if I didn't raise my voice at you and I asked you some very real questions that have to do with your role, I don't understand why we're crying here. Is either yes or no?
They're crying because they're used to it. It's like a child that's used to getting what they want when they cry. So if this is a learned behaviour for crying Claire or crying whatever. If you're used to crying or showing emotion to eradicate yourself from a situation, then you'll do it. And they just do. They've been doing it for a long time. So that's why I think people do it in work.
And just doing it in the office. Like my sister will tell me stories about people crying at their desk in front of the computer and not going. Like, honestly, I have shed a tear or 2 at work. But when I tell you, I do it on my lunch break in the toilet.
Please.
In silence, in the cubicle.
Yep.
If I need to shed a tear, shed it. We wrap it up.
Yep.
We go back in. Yeah? You need to find a room. You do it. You go back in. But to cry... Honestly, I don't understand. And you're in front of your screen and you're not moving. You're not even making the effort to go to the toilet or get up. You're just crying. You're letting it roll.
They want people to
roll down
see.
your face, drop on your notepad, onto your computer, your keyboard. honestly, that's when I have to ask a question. Like, are you doing it for display, or are you actually trying to like? We have to figure. My sister said, she had to tell one girl, no, honestly, let's just call her Sally. Sally, no, go to the toilet.
But why was she crying at her desk? Does she want someone to come and say, are you okay?
And maybe, or she's crying and the person that she's crying about is sitting right behind her screen.
Actually, it's not funny. Let me know. I'm not
Honestly,
laughing.
but you should. I mean, okay, that's true. If you're sad, you're sad. Who am I to tell you not to be sad? If you need to cry, cry. But I would advise, in my experience, that honestly, the best way is to go and try to figure it out and then come and put it in some kind of words or actions, because honestly, even if you're going to make a complaint, you have to put it in words. They can't just record your cry and then send it off to be analyzed. You might as well just compose yourself and come with words and report it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that'd be the most effective way to deal with it. I don't know. It's all mad to me.
I don't really get the crying thing, but that's just my personality. If someone was if that was somebody dealing with what I was dealing with, well, they did cry actually. They did cry in the first 2 weeks. They just did cry. So it's worth the crying, but obviously I'm not going to cry at work. There's
some American offices I've seen that have rooms for crying. No, they don't. No, honestly, I'll show you. No, they honestly do. And the sign.
Fake news.
Honestly, I'll show you a video.
That is fake news.
Honestly, I'm lying.
You are a WhatsApp auntie.
No. I'll show you. And it wasn't WhatsApp, it's Instagram. But there was a sign on the door that said, you can use the crying room. Please only restrict your time to 30 minutes so other people can use it, and it's only you inside that room. You can go and cry, and honestly, and I hate that. Honestly, sometimes work is stressful, and you need to have a cry. I hear that. But
what
not at your
industry
desk.
is that in where they are accounting for the fact that you are going to cry at work on a regular basis, and they're like, we've already built a room. That means they've got
something else they got to deal with, not have a room.
Is it like a hospital or something?
No. It's not because of that. It's stress. It's going to become too much. Some people let out with screaming. Some people let out with throwing chairs.
What kind of
some people
company
let
is
out
this?
through their tear ducts.
What company is this?
I don't know, but I'll show you the video.
It's fake. It's fake news.
I bet it's banking.
Oh, no, absolutely. I definitely think that this is a financial sector. Sometimes you have to cry. Sometimes there's no other thing but to cry. And then beseech the Lord.
You know what? But crying, like scientifically, your friend will know this because she's a scientist and she's in her spare time. It makes you feel better.
Yeah,
you need to get the tears out. Having all that pent up frustration.
You just need to skim off the top bit.
You do.
And then you continue. And then at the end, I just say these people won't make it to heaven. That's okay.
It's so funny.
I start singing, this world is not my home. I'm
Amen.
just a passing through.
It's just an old saying that, if you give someone power, they show you who they really are.
Oh.
So a lot of people in this country, unfortunately, they got power and they abuse it. They abuse it over and over again.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd be like that. If anyone's coming junior to me, I've been nicer to them than I've been to anybody at work.
That's
Is that because you've
because you're gonna make it to heaven? Like. That's why.
Why don't they remember when they were?
Maybe they never started off as a junior. Maybe
they did start. Everyone started.
Everybody starts.
Not everybody. Oh, maybe in banking. I don't know. Not in my industry.
Oh, maybe okay. There's some people that do skip that and they go straight to middle management, but there's very far and few between. And those are people who are super duper overly qualified.
Okay, have either of you ever made an official complaint at work before?
No. That time that I showed you, I told you that was an official complaint. There's one other time that I complained that someone. I won't say what happened, but it was a aggressive act of throwing something.
What at you?
And the person's mad anyway, and they're known to be mad. But when I told my manager, she told me not to place a formal complaint. It should be off the record, and it was never resolved.
Why did she ask you to do that? To
save her behind. How old were you at the time?
I would like not to say.
Fair enough. Oh my goodness, that's awful.
I was younger than I am now.
Amen.
I was when I was younger. But now.
Threw something at you. Mm-hmm. See, there are levels. There are different levels.
It doesn't matter because it was intended to. Whether you bobbed and weaved and missed it, that's what they wanted.
There's a verbal bullying and a shouting and a swearing. But if you throw something at me, I'm just trying to throw it back. And then what?
Yeah, but maybe bullies throw things at you because they've what's the word? They've worn you down so much. Actually, they probably think they can just do whatever, and you're not going to retaliate.
But the thing is, everybody had very mad interactions with that girl, and funny enough, that's not the maddest interaction someone had with that person. So she's. Well, I mean, anyway, I'd rather say less, but yeah, that's the only 2 times I've made formal complaints, and both those times I've regretted even having the conversation.
Sorry.
Why are you laughing?
Because the image came to my mind when some guy took a banana peel and threw it at his boss's head, and it slapped the back of his head. Really? I thought that was beautiful. But anyway, never mind. Continue.
No, that's it. No. That was the end.
Yeah, I've never made a complaint.
Ever?
No. About what?
Sorry?
About what?
About the bullying that you had for 5 years?
With who?
I don't know.
Exactly.
This is toxic, guys.
Yeah,
this is really toxic. And so obviously, I mean, this is a no-brainer, but do you think it's worse for black people?
Absolutely.
But why
Especially if you're
though?
only a black person in the whole company. Yeah, of course it is.
But why?
Why?
Yeah, like if you're the only black person, why do you think that person's gonna make? Is it because we're scared of being singled out, thinking, oh, we're gonna get the sack because we're black?
It's always in the back of your mind, trying to not be the stereotype, trying to not be the angry black person. So you've got to you try to hold things and not be, and not allow them to tell you that you were aggressive.
And also feeling that all of your actions, especially if you don't work in a company that has multiple black people, if you're only one or one of two, you start to feel like all of your actions, you're actually not only acting on your own behalf, but as like the face of black people. And so everything you decide to do, sometimes I think of it like it's in the back of my mind, like, oh my gosh. And I know it's not necessarily, that's not what I should do, but I don't want to be the person who's causing all this, like, not havoc, but like having to pull everybody in. Now people going to meetings after meetings, writing transcripts and all of this stuff. And then it's just like, oh, is this how, like, you just feel like you can't act on like Angela's behalf. You have to, you're literally the face of, and you're carrying the weight of trying to preserve how black people look in the workplace.
But who placed that burden on us?
I mean, we place it on ourselves. But yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it's not really a burden too much not to be the aggressive black guy. It's not.
But it's
that much
not
of a
about
burden.
being it, isn't it? It's about the perception.
Just to manage that. So you got to think, let me not react to that because it's not too much of a burden. But having said that, no one. Yeah, I think you'll see it if you don't put that burden on yourself, and you allow yourself to be too free. You'll see sooner or later someone's gonna call you out on it. Someone's gonna call you aggressive. It's just going to happen because that's how these people see us. It's gonna happen.
I also think it happens more. Well, actually, let me not say that. I wonder if it happens more for black women than it does for black men.
It doesn't.
So you think men get called aggressive more so than their white counterparts?
More so than their white their white male.
Yes, white male counterparts.
I don't know. But I've experienced when someone, this is not at work, this is at university, when someone treats you with trepidation because you're a black man in the building. So yeah.
Same. I've actually felt that as well, like people tiptoeing around me.
Oh really?
And it's so funny to me because if they only knew that, like, let alone, like, people have different personality types, but I'm not someone to shout at you anyway. Even if you vex me, like, I'm more likely just to leave. But I feel that, and sometimes it makes me feel extremely uncomfortable. Actually, a lot of times it makes me feel extremely uncomfortable. Like, people like having a discussion, but they kind of looking at you from the side corner of the eye, like, like, what's she gonna, or like a bit funny about approaching you for stuff. And I think, what have I done to make you act like that? And it's not one, it's not two, it's not three, like, and I think that's also why I kind of try to keep my distance, because I just feel like,
but I just think that, don't you think that's like a mental burden?
It's a reality though. It's a reality.
It is a reality, but I guess what I'm also saying, like, that stuff is like, it's draining. That's emotionally draining.
But it's straight, so you can't really manage other people's behavior towards you. And I think it's more draining. It would be more draining and more offensive and more upsetting if I felt like I had showed the real me and they were still treating me like that. Whereas if they do things like that, or how people react to me or treat me, when I know that they don't know me and they just know my work persona, I'm just here to get by and get out, I don't take it personally because we don't have a personal relationship. But when it becomes to us having personal relationships and I'm here pouring my whole self in, like vulnerable parts of myself into a space where people are not going to properly respect it or understand it or know how to treat it, and then you come and you want to do or say like all these mad stuff. Honestly, that would bring me. I would be forget 30 minutes in the crying room. I'm booking it for Thursdays.
Oh my god!
I'm booking it on Thursdays. Honestly,
I found if it especially being the only black person in the whole firm for the most of the time, you tend to shave off most of your personality.
Oh, absolutely.
Most of it till almost nothing's left, and that's you for majority of your life. Because I was there for 11 hours a day, right? So 11 hours a day, I'm behaving in a way that's not me. Until you forget that that's not you, and it starts to filter into outside of work. It takes a long time to get out of not being yourself and actually allowing yourself to be who you really are again. It takes a long time to fix that. But yeah, that's not being the only black person is long. It's just
very,
long,
very, very.
because you're thinking about. You don't want people to think too much of you, but you don't want them to know too much about you because they're not going to understand anyway. It's just long.
And I don't think shaving off is the right thing. I think maybe you lock up, like
when lock it up.
Yeah, when you play games and like that you haven't unlocked that level, like you're actually just functioning with a very basic level of yourself for the whole time, and you don't give anyone access to these other parts, because honestly, the more things, like if I talk about what I really love in life, or like if you don't get it or you mock it or you just don't treat it with the respect that is needed, that will really offend me. I'd rather just not. And I also, if I have to explain everything, sometimes I think something is so funny. I want to say something like on what someone else has said, or I thought, oh my gosh, that person's comment was hilarious. Then I think, wait, if I just jump from where I'm thinking, it won't make sense to anyone. I have to go all the way back. So, do you know there was a program about 10 years ago that was called this and this? Do you know so I had to set that, by the time it's just not even worth making funny. The comment.
Yeah.
And then I don't know about the funny thing is that it's so funny. There were conversations at work and someone from outside of work was mentioned. I mean, someone from work was saying that they grew up outside of the UK, and so sometimes they feel a type of way when people are having like conversations or like and they like they're referring to things that happened a long time ago in the UK, but they have no understanding of that kind of culture of they don't have like the shows that they watched, the things that used to happen here and stuff like that. So they feel kind of they can't really involve themselves in those conversations. And I was in my head like, oh my gosh, I've grown up in the same London, but some of these things that people be talking about, honestly, I couldn't tell you what part of the haggis is nice. I couldn't tell you all these little things. Like, do you know what a chocolate bird is? No, I don't. Honestly, I know a chicken. I know a turkey. I know the pigeons that annoy me on the way to work. All of these things are very Caucasian. First of all, I don't know. And then you look at me like, how do you not know? That you know that Miss Sally Watts was on TV at 7:00? No, because I was watching Friends, Prince of Bel-Air, or I was watching Wife and Kids. And I don't want to know. And I don't want you to look at me like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I wonder, like, maybe she didn't have a TV, or maybe like in their culture they just don't do. Like, honestly, me and my sisters talk about it all the time. Like, people be talking about the most white English things, and then they'll look at you crazy like you don't know. But then if you were to turn to them and say, do you know about like My Wife and Kids, or do you know about Trouble, they're like, no. And then they think it's some hood thing, which maybe in some way no, okay, it's not hood, but like, or I'll be talking about something completely different. They'll be like, oh, I don't know that. I've never seen him.
But the expectations, they don't have to know. And I guess my question is, like, we can navigate life wearing like a different mask, or like not even playing a role, like, you know, you said shaving off, and I think you said kind of what is like
just locking
away a part of you. And my stepmom told me, she was like, okay, when you go into a new job, decide on who you're going to be, and play that role.
And it keeps you safe,
it keeps you sane. But then a small part of me, sane and safe. But then a small part of me thinks, well, why? Why do I have to never like... No, not even why do I have to not share things, but like if I don't share things and push it in front of your face, you're going to navigate the rest of your life just thinking that everyone cares about rambling in the bloody Malvern Hills and bird watching and whatever else. Ski trips.
Oh,
Actually, no, I don't want to hear about you going back to the Alps. Are they not the same Alps? Have we not seen them 17 times?
I don't want to ever ski in my life.
I don't like. I mean, I've been skiing.
I would like to ski.
No, I've been. It's okay, but I guess what I'm saying is,
not interested.
What are we gonna do to change that? Because otherwise, it's gonna be like that for the next generation.
You don't think they've encountered other people who them by themselves are not doing anything and they're talking about something else, and you still are the outlier. You are still the outsider. You are still like, it's not gonna change that, because if they don't make a habit of interacting with people outside of their same groups and stuff like that, that knowledge never becomes like.
That's true, but I think there are small things, and I mean I think there are a few small things that people can do. Two things that the one thing that I do is we have like a work WhatsApp group. You know, people just send memes in the WhatsApp group. I only like within, not like my whole floor, like as in the small team that I work in, and we're like a very diverse team, like literally very diverse.
See, that makes it
so there's 9 of us. But the one thing that I always do, I always use a black meme, always. Even if it takes me to, I am sending a black only meme. Yeah, I am.
Can I emoticon meme?
A what? A GIF or like a black GIF, always.
Right.
So like whatever responding to, if it's congratulations, we've hit another target, I'm like, oh, fantastic. If it's, oh, you know what, you're so smart, I'm using every single.
Can I say something so embarrassing?
Yeah.
I had to text one of the senior partners, and it's the best way to get hold of him is to text. So we text, and sometimes we've got to a point now where I can use like emojis.
Oh yeah.
But on my work phone, obviously I've never used like black emojis, so it's still the yellow ones.
Wait, what? Why?
Honestly, truly.
Why have you not? Do they think you're yellow?
No. So I've never used, you know, when you're using my work phone is completely separate. I've never really been like, you know, on my phone, all the black emojis at the front, because that's what I'd be using. Honestly, I had the choice to go and use the black emoji, and I was like, I can't bother. I'm just going to use this yellow emoji. That's
my gosh.
Honestly, and I'm so sad. I'm so angry with myself. Next time I did.
Meanwhile, I am here sending gifts of Tamar Braxton rolling her eyes.
You got to give him that black hand. Or not,
you know what? And the reason why I only... let me tell you the reason why I use it. And they're like, where's that from? Oh, it's from a TV show. Google it. You'll get it. You'll get the same way that I know where the Malvern Hills are. Because I know how to use, what do you call it? Olowa Google.
Yeah. No, that's not the way to use it.
The same way that I know how to find out stuff on all the stuff you're interested in, blah, 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 whatever. Yeah, I only ever use black gifts. That's a small thing I'm doing. But I mean, my team is diverse. And then the other thing, something that I haven't done, and I've never seen anybody in my workplace use this, and I was so shocked. I sent a picture to the two of you. I was in a presentation, somebody was talking about like weddings or something, and they had like a black couple in a wedding. I've never seen a black couple using a presentation and to an internal staff about weddings. Wow. And it was a really popular couple. I don't remember the guy's name. He's a rapper. He's got really long dreads. He wore them up in a bun. He had on a red jacket. They got married last year. I think they're from Miami. Don't remember. Anyway, whatever. And I was so impressed. I messaged the girl. I said to her, you know what? I've never seen anyone use a black cup. And she was like, if we don't start using it, then how are they ever going to use it? No, I understand. No. And I'm not saying that you can just pick that up and put it into your environment. I'm not. But I do think there are small things. Your small thing might just be using black emojis.
Honestly, from now on, I've actually made
and then maybe they'll say, oh, where did you get that from? Well, we're not all yellow, are we? We're not Simpsons characters.
But honestly.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying that you can't do what I can do.
I can't even pick up the yellow ones anymore. It's just
I don't even have them.
The faces
no, but my yellow ones are at the front of my work phone because I don't.
Do you know there was
emojis.
a whole petition about not having a ginger haired emoji and a curly haired emoji, but that all happened before there were black. No, before there was like an afro emoji. You better just use the black.
No, honestly,
emoji.
I think it was just in that conversation with that person. I just thought, right, like, you know when it stands out to you and then you're like. I don't know. Honestly, we all need therapy.
I don't even think about it though.
To have a conversation. Yeah. No, but honestly, the fact that it even dawned on me, I want that white people.
You have got PTSD.
Why people don't think about using white people emojis?
And that is privilege. If you don't have to think about it, I don't have to explain my TV shows. I don't have to explain my cooking principles. I don't have to, and that's a principle. Wash your chicken.
Well,
wash your meat, please.
Do you know I saw?
You see, brown brown.
Yeah, that's what
I don't even think. No, but I'm thinking.
Talking about her,
I didn't even think about it.
I'm not talking about my work phone, which I don't use emojis on. Who am I sending emojis to? Hello,
I'm
hi.
just saying, just do it to just.
No, but no.
Jab them a little bit.
Don't do it to jab them. Do it because you're black.
In the conversation, I felt like it was like, you know, when they do those memes where the guy, like, when you send like a dancing woman in the middle of your laughing faces by accident, and they'll have the laughing ha ha ha, and then they'll have a dance.
Yeah.
I felt like in the message it will be like, oh, thank you, I'm black. That's what I felt like.
But why? Why did you think that?
I don't know.
Angela,
honestly, I need
that's
therapy.
on you.
Honestly, I need therapy.
Angela,
honestly.
Do you think the white person thinks that when he sends a thumbs up, he's like, oh, thank you, and I'm white?
No.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I have sent it after that, but I remember that just that time just thinking, oh, I can't. I just was.
But maybe also it was the first time, and the more you do it, the more they'll just. Nobody at work asks me about nonsense these days because I'm just like, we've already discussed that I wrote a petition to get the whole of Black Netflix US on the UK, and now you're all enjoying Girlfriends for the first time. And meanwhile, I've watched it already. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, we've already. Some of them are like, oh wow, oh my goodness, Girlfriends is just, it's just so hip. Shut up. Shut up.
No,
and just be happy that us black people.
If you're giving it.
Yeah, whatever. Just be happy that us black people once again petitioned Netflix in our hundreds and thousands and asked for them to send over the rights for us to watch this show. Some of us watched it on our VPN because we're just smart like that anyway. And we're also watching loads of other black shows on Netflix US because it's actually fantastic.
Can I ask one? I mean, Netflix, if you are listening, can we write a petition for my wife and kids?
I already wrote one. Watch it on the American one.
My wife and kids on the American one.
Oh no, it's not. I don't like My Wife and Kids, by the way.
I love it.
Is it not?
No, it's not. Actually, maybe it is. You know what? I'll have a look for it. I don't have my iPad. Maybe it is. But I guess what I'm saying is, and I'm talking from a position of privilege because this isn't my everyday because of the sector I work in, but I also don't get paid as much as people who work in other sectors, and that's just my burden. Sadly, trust me. I think I chose the wrong sector. That's another podcast.
Listen, I told you to watch industry and find out what would be.
Nothing is worth your
finance.
That's true. I guess what I'm saying is maybe everybody, like not the three of us, like we can all do something small, something that makes it slightly more not palatable, something that makes it a little bit easier for the next person coming. I swear to you, I was the second black person, I swear, on my floor, maybe like the fifth black person in my organization. Now there's like 35 of us. I don't know when they came in, but I'm telling you it's because of me. What? I'm so sure. I think they thought, oh, we've let 1 or 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 open the floodgates. But now, I mean, we are at the complete opposite end. Like we are fully into EDI and like diversity and inclusion. So it's a bit different. But yeah, man, you have to remind people that you're black sometimes in any way that you can whilst keeping your peace. I don't want you to send a high five and then be worried.
No, do you know, I just think it's funny. Like there's traumatizing situations at work, which obviously I'm not going to go into, and we don't have a lot of time, but it all feeds into stuff, and when you make those decisions, it's all informed by those situations that you've been in.
Yeah.
Oh, honestly, all I need to do is win the lottery and retire. In a black country.
Why not?
Just make it make sense. In a black country.
Do it. So do you not have any advice for people who are struggling in work? Because remember, we've asked them, have any of you cried at work? What's going to be your key, like, pieces of, like, your key, what's the word? Oh, Jesus, help me to think. Gems. Pearls of wisdom. Got there in the end.
It's not going to help anybody.
Sorry?
My pearl of wisdom is to leave.
Okay, so, I mean, sometimes,
don't leave.
If you've got bills...
Pay your bills.
That's the highest priority, I guess, in that time.
No, Andrew, the highest priority is your peace.
Yeah, it's your peace. It's true.
Move back home if you need to.
Yes,
if that's peaceful.
But if you're looking for a very peaceful work environment, you're never gonna find it.
No, you're not. You
need to fight. You have to balance it.
I think you just gotta have a plan and focus on that plan.
Can I give So I don't know if you want sensible tips or my real tips.
Yes, let's have the real tips.
Okay.
So they can Google sensible tips.
Is to just have a plan, no matter where you're working. Have a plan on what you want to do with it and afterwards, and focus on that every day.
That's the sensible tips from Lyndon. This is my real tips.
Go on.
It's your workplace. You can cry if you want to. Just don't cry at your desk. Also, keep an earphone on you. A prayer a song in your heart,
yes,
and the earphones on you. So, because sometimes,
yes,
just blocking out, just blocking out
in your own world.
Yeah, like 1 sense. You might not be able to close your eyes because you have to type, and you can't lose all sense of feeling and whatever. But what you can do is put in something in your ears to block out the sound.
Headphones.
Right, listen,
headphones will change your life. You know.
Listen,
No, you did.
So I remember.
Wait.
I remember why when I was started that job, you weren't allowed to have no headphones in. Listen, right.
You have to have a song in your heart then. That's why I started with the song in your heart.
But when they changed the telephone system, everyone had the earpiece. So that earpiece just became my headphones.
With one ear. No. Honestly, I'd recommend a two ear something. And honestly, I'd say don't play aggressive music, because that aggravates situations sometimes. I'd say gospel's my go-to. Or just good vibes. Something that like makes you feel like you're not at work, just to help you bring it down. Yeah,
I would also say noise cancelling headphones. Do you know why? Even if you don't have any music playing, people talk to you less when you've got headphones on, because they assume that you are listening to music. And also, people may be talking about you, and you might be able to just be like, let me just hear what they're saying. Are you okay? I talk my headphones on all the time. There's no music. I just want you to talk to me.
I don't even. I don't want to hear what you're talking to me about. I actually would rather not know.
I don't feel a bit stupid to talk about you in front of
no, some people.
People do.
Some people do. But
stupid.
I think or listening to a very black podcast. Listen to us. No, honestly. Listen to it, so it just helps you balance. I wouldn't say just nothing in your ears with just earphones, because you also need to silence that screaming thing like, I don't want this job, I'm gonna quit. That needs to come down too. So that will be my thing. And I think also, if you're going to complain, in my experience, I wish that I had I observed for a very long time, but I wish I had also observed for a little bit longer and probably not gone in the heat of me feeling the emotion, because sometimes I make decisions that I wouldn't have made if I had calmed down and thought about it, because these people weren't trustworthy in the end. And so I think that just make sure you know who you're talking to, and not everybody that says that they are for you are an independent person will not say anything. All of those words.
Not everyone you call a friend is your friend.
Oh, exactly. And not everyone you call HR is HR.
Exactly.
Hello, hi. And so that's what I would say. Really, really be careful who you complain to, and what you say. I think you really be tactful. I know in the places that I've worked, there's a lot of office politics. And sometimes you might just be walking into Wahala. But then also you just need to look after your mental health. Honestly, people take off days for stress.
Have a duvet day. Have a duvet day.
Days for stress. If you're stressed, you're sick. You take it off.
Can I just say,
where they do that at? Where they allowed to have a day of stress?
Hello. Do you know what? People take off days. You can get signed off for stress.
For 2 weeks, very easily.
So I'm telling you.
What? My friend got signed off for 11 weeks. Are you okay? It's very easy, but black people, we don't have like the same attitude towards sick days as our white counterparts. That needs to stop. If you don't feel well, if you have a migraine, don't work. If you feel stressed, also don't work. Like if you feel unwell, don't work.
This works better in some sectors, but in general, it's a general principle. And I'd like to clarify: if you're stressed, you're not necessarily all the time when you're stressed, you're sick. But if you feel like it's really affecting your well-being, sometimes you can't come. All the times you can't come and kill yourself, but especially that time you can't come and kill yourself. Take some time out to breathe, and also sometimes you can't speak to someone in work. Have a mentor outside of work that can advise you, who's probably been in your industry for longer than you have, and that can tell you things that they wish they knew, and like issues. I mean, like I would say, in my words, potholes that they could have swimming around. I feel like there's a better English term for that, but my English doesn't reach that far. So I'm just saying, like, talk to someone outside of work. Vent.
Talk to your friends who are your real friends.
Yeah, and vent and get it off your chest and speak to someone and let it bounce ideas off people or your stresses off people, so they can tell you, you know what, that's for real. Maybe no, actually no, that was your fault. They screamed at you because you were wrong. And then that's it.
Listen, in my last job, I called in sick. Remember, I was there for 5.5 years. I think I called in sick twice.
Yeah, but why?
Why?
Maybe 3. The first time I did it, I got
bullying.
shade for it.
Huh?
I got shade for it. She's like, were you really sick though? I'm like, yes, because I was. And she's like, yeah, right. I'm like, excuse me? And she's like, yeah, right. I was like, why are you telling me I was lying to you? And she's like, yeah, but no, what? Are you saying that I was lying to you? Then she babbled and just went away. But then I got that shade that I got stopped me from doing it for so long until.
That means she won. That's so frustrating. Anyway, that whole situation makes me so angry.
Yeah, but then the other time I called in sick, I wasn't sick. I actually wanted.
You called in sick twice in 5.5 years.
Yeah, maybe 3 times.
You need to come to the charity sector. Because
one time I called in sick, it wasn't because I was sick. It's because I wanted to go to a writing camp, and I went.
I mean, I think you deserved it after. You know, you're allowed 6 periods of sickness a year. Periods, not days.
It's 5.
No, it's 6. It's unless you have a different policy.
Days. It's 5 days now.
The law says you're allowed to be.
Where did you
the
work?
law says you're allowed.
I'm telling you, I worked
6
in
periods of sickness. 6 periods is not 6 days. You're allowed to say I'm sick 6 times. So if that means I'm sick for 2 days,
our contract said 5 days.
How can you
That's against
contractually
the
be sick?
law.
I'm writing on this. I'm signing here that I will only be sick 5 days in the year.
That's against the law, Lyndon.
Where did you work?
In a horrible
England?
place.
In England.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
That's against the law.
Nobody was sick. No, listen, it was frowned upon.
No, they
There's
were
no
sick.
way.
They just worked through their mental fatigue and their stress.
Yeah, that's what I did.
I can't believe you had 2 sick days. But I mean, men don't take that many sick days compared to women anyway. That's different reasons. But I mean, 2 sick days in 5.5 years.
That's one thing I can say is good about
Mate,
my
I've had
workplace.
5
They
sick
take
days
sick days
in
seriously.
COVID, but I don't mess about with migraines. You think I want to work and I've got a migraine, so I can kill myself?
The amount of migraines I had to.
And you know what? They will put up your job
paracetamol.
interview. They'll put up your post on LinkedIn,
Yeah, they
on
will.
Read or whatever
they will.
before people even post an obituary of like.
They will say, we're so sorry for your loss. Send a card to your parents or your spouse, and they will have already got somebody reading not handover notes, but like they'll have somebody reading your job description to start the next. Are you okay?
Steph would have been very rich if I died.
Say it again.
Steph would have got rich if I died.
Touch wood, that's not
That's my last job. It's gone now.
That's why they have
life
death in
insurance.
service, you know, because they know. Some jobs, honestly, I'm with you, Angela. Like,
And I'm saying this again. This is the time. This is why I'm saying to watch the first episode of Industry, please.
I'm gonna watch it, but why am I gonna watch it? Make myself angry?
Okay, fine.
Now I'm gonna watch it. I just don't want to be scared.
Don't anger Lyndon, please, because he's already angry with me.
The culture that I saw in there was a culture that I saw in my workplace.
Oh,
Largely.
I've heard mad stories. Mad stories. There's nothing that can shock me on TV. I've heard it all.
Yep. Yeah. I guess, you know what it is? I guess what I'm saying is it's not about the stories being mad. It's about the extra burden that Black people have to deal with in these already ridiculous situations. We have another, I don't want to use the word disadvantage, but that's why I'm saying, oi, listen, if you need to be sick, you need to be sick. Do you know what they can never ask you to come in for? If you've got D and V, diarrhea and vomiting. You're not allowed to be in the office. You actually have to be in your house. So.
And that was the exact excuse I used.
You have to because how can they prove it? And I can't. I'm sorry. I've got DMV. Oh my goodness! And it's very contagious. You're not supposed to be in the office. Like, in fact, if you get that in the middle of the day, you're meant to go home. Also, this is a tip for anybody. If you have to go to work, if you go home sick, it's not counted as a sick day. You just go home. That's not technically a sick day. It's not a sick period. So if you go into work and go home sick,
in my last
that's not
job,
a sick day.
In my last job, at the very beginning of it, they used to count it as a sick day.
That's against the law. But I mean, you
Honestly?
didn't even have HR, so you didn't have
no,
anybody.
in that job they did.
Oh, no, that's against the law. Let me tell you something. The union in my organisation does not ramp. They are, some of the things that they are taking the organisation to head for, I'm just like, it's not that serious, guys. They're like, no, it is our rights. And they need to pay. I said, well, okay, well. Bearing in mind I work for a charity, I'm like, okay.
They need a union for people that work in the finance world.
I'm surprised there isn't one.
The finance world is wild. And they're just people that are working with money. It's just wild the way they treat people.
Horrid. Absolutely horrid. FYI, I heard that I don't know why I was randomly on this. I came across Reddit or something, and it's like the collections of the best Reddit like stuff on the internet, and they were saying like what are the traits of what are the careers where a sociopath or a psychopath is most likely to be, and then they said CEOs of banking corporations and surgeons. And I said, that is wild. And they were like, yeah, they don't like to talk to people, they've got no social skills, and they just want to be by themselves, and they have no empathy towards people and no compassion, which obviously you have in abundance. So that's why you left, isn't it? But I find that so interesting.
You guys won't understand where this conversation is coming from, but you know what?
But I
sounded bare Bristol when she said that.
Sorry?
So Bristol.
How would you know that? Have you been to Bristol?
So Bristolian.
What do you mean, of course? How am I supposed to know where you've been? How many times have you been to Bristol?
I know what the Bristol accent sounds like.
Let me hear it.
I can't do it.
Why not?
Because I can't.
Oh, okay. So back over to me. I don't even know what I was saying now, Lyndon.
When she said in it sounded super Bristol. And she knows it did. But anyway, go on.
Finished. As a Jamaican, I finished talk.
Say that in Bristol.
Oh, I'm gonna fight you.
Say that in Bristol.
I'm gonna fight you today.
Can you say that in Birmingham?
No.
Oh no, you lost it already.
It's gone forever. Anyway, we're gonna have a fight, but that's the end of the podcast.
I'll say it in what do you want me to say in London?
Kiwanda. That's what I want you to say it in.
No, I said, what do you want me to say in London?
Oh, in London. Bye. Thanks for coming to our podcast.
Bye, guys. And thank you for coming to our podcast.
Just say it like the guy from EastEnders.
Absolutely not. That's not the part that I'm from, darling. Yeah.